sharp as obsidian. Cut through the lies, corruption, graffiti, and titanium. Snakes in the swamps think they swim in slick amphibians. Constitution blades, we carve through their oblivion. Cash for kids, now we like that scam ablaze. Traitors in the shadows, lost in their twisted maze. Snatch the gavel back, justice in the people's gaze. Breaking chains with syllables, watch the system rephrase. Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes. Battle cry loud, iron fist hit the drums. Villains meet their end, chaos comes from crumbs. The Constitution roars, amplifies our tongues. Flood the dungeons with light, purge the system scum. Bam! No deals under the table, transparency our grind. Greedy claws cracked, vultures out of time. We armor injustice, front line redefine. Dirty waters purified, the movement intertwined. Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes. No deals under the table, transparency our grind. Greedy claws cracked, vultures out of time. We armor injustice, front line redefined. Dirty waters purify, the movement intertwines. Cap. What? Leave the kids alone, no pawns in your schemes. We the watchdogs, waking up your daydreams. Cleaning out swamps, revolution streams. Truth prevails, echo shatters corrupt regimes.
Good evening, and welcome to a special report edition of CPS Breaking News. We're going to take and bring out, um, we're going to bring out one of our co-hosts here tonight. Danielle is with us tonight, and
Oh,
I believe we may have one of the people that have been in the audience, Chris, that is actually, I believe, in the process of coming on board to the CPS Breaking News Network. And we have a special report. Um, the fearless leader, the CPS Punisher, has been set free. All the stuff
yay.
was wiped away. It was all bullshit. It was all over the fact of this case that we filed that went over there is what we're deducting because as soon as it was officially filed and everything was just completely disappeared. It was gone. That basically they were trying anything to stop this case. So what we're talking about is
Thank
that's why
you.
this is so important because now it's out there and the amount of response is crazy. And guys, I know our show Gunning for Justice or Gunning for CPS, we now have a Facebook page. Okay. And happy Mother's Day to everybody. What?
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Uh, Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Athena, happy Mother's Day. Thank you.
Yeah. So,
Happy Mother's Day to Sharon. She's out there listening.
yeah. Well, no,
Everybody,
here,
Mary,
um,
everybody.
yeah, whoever we've got out there, guys, listen, there's a lot been going on with this case, and that was the big case that we were working on. We've been working on this thing for probably close to what 6 months to a year,
It's been
somewhere
a while.
in the
It's been a while.
background, working together as a team of
Yep.
collaborate to form the most perfect pro se that this is never. Let me explain. This has never been done in the history of the country exactly this way. That's why it's such a unique filing. And people say, "Well, we don't understand." Well, you don't understand the game plan either. The idea
Yep.
is convict one state and show the treason and sedition and what CPS is doing, then show
Then,
them that pattern, and then
yep.
you turn around and now that's for all
Hey,
50
Debbie,
states. All 50 states.
are
So
you lucky to have sun? I wish we did. It's raining here, Athena. It's
yeah,
no sun here today. Oh, hold on now. Let me get this. Hey, Tammy, and welcome in. How are you? Happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. With whether you're still a mom, no matter what. You're still a mother, and that's what matters. And this is your day. You don't let it. Don't let these bullies get the best of you. We're gonna get the babies home, and we're gonna. And like Gunner was saying yesterday, self care, get prepared because they coming. Yep. It's
it's
gonna
coming.
be
And when this is the thing. This is
yeah,
actually a positive step of saying, yes, we
yes,
can see the end and we can say, yes, this is such an airtight case that just by filing the paperwork that was done was well enough to prove everything without it. The only point of going to court is a full exposure of everything. There's more there. And here's the thing. We want to let them know we are coming. And they want to
yep.
know because just because I may stand in that courtroom
Sorry.
or Sharon may stand in that courtroom and do what we do, understand we have got a lot of support. We've got a
Yep.
lot of people working with us, training us how to do pro se, understanding the court processes, going through looking at all different strategies, everything they use, and all this other stuff. But here's the benefit that we have in our case, and especially pro se. One, it's a civil rights matter, it's a constitutional matter, it's a no nonsense matter. And the evidence is so overwhelming and so damning, they just can't, is what I'm saying. It's impossible before a court of law, an actual, real court of law. And when this happens, yes, it will probably be televised live with everything. And we're going to do things a little bit different that they've never seen in procedural law because we can. Just because here's the thing, they've been trained to regurgitate the same thing over and over and over again.
Right.
What do you do
Right.
with somebody that you've never met in a courtroom? You don't know how this person does stuff. You
Training.
don't know how they
They need to be
think.
trained.
You don't have a pattern. once again, and yet alone, the evidence that's against you is so damn overwhelming. You can almost just throw your hands up and go, "Damn, we're done." Well, there's no way
Oh,
around that stuff. And as a matter of
like
fact,
what?
we were contacted today, Danielle. I didn't share this yet. We were reached out to by somebody that was from the Tennessee state government that says
She,
they want to set up a meeting with our senators. Oh
yes,
yeah, and want to have a conversation.
awesome.
He says I have looked at the evidence, and he goes, and what you're talking about, and everything else you have, and doing this. He goes, we are paying attention. They are
They
looking to schedule a meeting with U.S.
good,
senators as well as several others, and I believe there's a possibility the governor may be having that sit down with us. So yeah, we've got some
good.
attention.
That's
Because
what it needs.
whether you're for the Constitution or you're not, and there is no wiggle room anymore because that's the way
Mm-mm.
this is going to go. We're done. We the
Hello,
people have
everyone.
removed
Sorry,
this.
Brandon.
So
Yes, because
I'm hoping he
it's
comes in here.
it's not just an isolated incident. Like this is not just this is a nationwide crisis.
No.
Like this is so it's so bad that that think about it. A courtroom is the entities. A courtroom is ran by individuals,
Yeah.
and they just got their own way of. So I mean, it's change is not like the change is not needed to rewrite the law. It's needed in to reform it. Like right, like instead of like you got to think also like oh no,
Chris,
do I know?
check your Facebook Messenger so you can get on here live, girl.
Yeah.
I sent you the link on there. Just
Hey
log in there.
everyone. Um, everyone, happy Mother's Day out there.
Yeah.
Hey China Rose. I see where you said my great grandkids need to be home. How do I help?
Yeah.
Joy,
Listen, this starts in
let her know,
Blunt County. You guys got to understand, and we'll get back to that here. But listen, Blunt County people here, if you're watching in Blunt County, yes, this case originated in Blunt County, Tennessee, the same county that took and released a teacher that was employed by the county schools for over 20 years, I believe was the recent numbers, and over 80 children have come forward, and they had a trial on some of them, and the only thing that this teacher got was 6 months probation with multiple counts of touching children, and has the ability to have it wiped off his record if he completes this. This county is on fire over that, but that was just the tipping point to say, oh no, it's worse than that. Here's our federal filing. It goes even much deeper than just this. And they're like, well, the state took and all, we're following the state law. The Blunt County DA over here, which is once again didn't want to take a report on what we had to report that we filed on. That's right, people. There's the whole point. They'll tie up parents and all this other stuff because here's the thing. They're looking for information to put you on this registry, to put you in this system, whether you like it or not. They're forcing you into it because they're looking for data to use against people. Chris knows this up in Chicago. Up in Chicago, they are crooked as hell. They are into every family any way that they can to get as much information and data on this. This is an issue of national security. If they have this information, including what we've revealed, that they are doing a soft gun registry, that is enough to overthrow this country.
Yeah.
That's how scary this is.
Think how, I mean, it's crazy.
This is not a joke. This is not real.
No, this is a nationwide crisis.
Within your states, look at your state laws now. Everybody's from different states here. Look at your state laws for just touching this and what the maximum sentence is for those things and how they get off, just like in this case. Well, we gave the states maximum sentence. Why? Because now they're free. Now they're able to do this again somewhere else or even do a name change and move to a different state and start all over again.
Right.
And it's all behind them. This is how they're looking behind us.
That happens all the time. They change their name, they change their middle name, they change something, they have an alias, and they do it all over again.
Yep. And then they want to change our kids' names, and it's ridiculous. They change facilities' names.
Right.
It's all true. Right now, you guys are seeing nationwide. And we've noticed this pattern, they are circling and moving judges around right now in different districts and moving them all over the place to scatter
Yes.
the district with stuff. CPS workers and CASA workers, they're going somewhere else. Why? They may still work for the state, but now you're in a different part of the state. We got to get you out of here. You're too hot. Let's bring in new people, new faces. Well, these are new people here. That doesn't why? Because they're going to cover the hot spots. They're going
to try to play cleanup.
The money-making counties, they're going to keep pulling those high numbers out of the counties.
Because they just did it in my county.
A few other counties, and that's fine because that's a smart business move. That's why that is.
Right.
If I have to sacrifice something, I'll sacrifice a county I ain't making that much money on. But if I continue to take and get money in this county, I know is pulling out millions and millions of dollars in fraud. Absolutely. This is not well thought out.
It happens, Debbie. It happens.
You know, yeah, and you know, I have a story about that. There was a girl from Illinois that actually, she's like in her 70s now. She was in the foster care system when it was orphanages. She ran away when she was 13. She has never been able to get her driver's license. She just finally got her birth certificate and she had her social security card. She found out she had 2 social security numbers. She had to figure out how to figure out which one was the correct one. There was no correct one. So they went off of the one that she had been using. And she had asked them, why would I have 2 social security numbers? They told her that the only reason that she would have 2 social security numbers is because of either witness protection or child welfare. And they said, and I can't say anymore. Then she got pulled over after getting her driver's license. And they took her to jail. So FBI was supposed to come out to her house to do a DNA swab. And I'm like, they're still messing with this poor lady. She was actually in the Paris Hilton documentary.
How old is she now? Was she?
She's like in her 70s. She was in the same, in the Paris Hilton documentary. She was in the whole, like, with the, all of that. She, I mean, this lady's been through hell and back. And, like, she.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's
she
crazy how they.
She's not far.
And I mean, think about it. She's 70 years old. And I mean, I know a lady right down the road that I met.
And, you know, don't get mad at me. I just sent you a text, but it's something you need to see on a conversation we had earlier. You're fine. I just want to let you know that was me dinging your phone.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Because, hold on.
Yeah, no, they definitely, they target. There's different people that they definitely do target. I will say that. And at least Illinois, from what I've realized. And I was targeted for sure. I was targeted. It's not, you can't really give any rhyme or reason, but there's a targeting going on. Are you calling somebody?
I know.
I'm trying to see. I am trying to get a hold of somebody, and there's a reason. But we're supposed to have a special guest tonight. Is what we're working on.
I just have a brain fart. What was I talking
Wait, Gunnar, did you see what I sent you? So somebody's in Congress, in Washington right now. They said that something came out in Tennessee about like a congressman in Tennessee is gunning for all judges that are not going by the Constitution. Read what I sent you because right at the bottom and it got cut off. So I have to look further into it. I just saw that before I sent it to you.
Yeah.
And
like I said, they reached out to us right there. Yeah, let's see. Beatrice, was that one?
It would no, it was yeah, is that her? I don't know. It's like
it doesn't say the congressman though. I mean, we have several. It depends on what district they're in. So without having all that,
I would have to go further into it. I just saw it really quick. I screenshotted it.
Know. Yeah. Well, we're definitely on board with exposing this, and we don't give a shit. Give us our fucking kids back, and fucking make restitution. That's what we're calling for. And these people need to be prosecuted.
Yes, the ones that have fraudulently been fabricating and taking up paperwork, and I mean, I just don't understand, and not even notifying the parents, nothing. I mean,
and not only that, but these service providers, I mean, people need to understand they need to look into the service providers that are providing them services because most of the time they don't have the credentials. They don't have the license that they claim to have. I found that out on my own. I did the investigations.
There's no accountability because understanding this flows directly from the federal government and the money drives you there, but it runs it through the state. So the state's
I don't know.
opinion is they're operating under the federal government under that particular clause, but then considering themselves specialists under the Chevron
Right.
doctrine, that
Our,
they
Well,
are
our,
not they don't have to follow the Constitution, and that's
yeah,
been
but
overturned. And that's what they don't realize is going to smack them smack in the face
huh?
is we caught
it's
you.
crazy.
But
We
here's the
caught
one thing
you.
that they're doing, Gunner. Hold on. Now, Illinois, I was telling you about this. They just tried to pass a bill, and I believe
Mhm.
it passed the House out of nowhere. Is trying to get immunity for
Yes.
volunteers,
Yep.
for contractors that are not. So, because we don't deal with DCFS, we deal with like POS agencies, which is purchase of
Right.
service, and so it's
It's
all
it's
hidden.
a layer. Well, see, that's a layer of protection.
Real
Okay.
protection, exactly.
But the
But hold on.
problem is this with the case that we filed.
They're
We
trying
don't
to do
worry
that,
about
don't
the
they?
actors. We go after the state that wrote the policies and everything to allow
Right.
them to do that. So they're
And
not
what they're
immune.
doing now, but they're trying, they just, and I believe it went through, passed a bill that immunity applies for these volunteers. So now the lawsuit that I have pending against Kenyatta Williams, and I will state her name, I don't give a shit because it's already out there, for falsifying, and it was under oath. She admitted it finally, but she never had the credentials. She totally tore my case apart. The judge still found her credible even after she admitted to having
Sorry,
um
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
even after
Sorry.
admitting to having to not having the like qualifications that she had, that she
Right.
claimed to have, like a master of social work and whatnot. And so it's, but now they're trying to get immunity for 2 years. Why would they
Yeah.
do that for the
Wow.
next 2 years? Now that's
Well, and
interesting,
the
right?
thing is, that's
Lock
states
in the federal money.
in state court. When it comes to constitutional rights, they can say all they want, but it's very, very clear in the Constitution that
Wow.
it specifically says in there that immunity is immediately stripped the time you make the constitutional rights violation,
Yes.
regardless
Yes.
of what the state says. The Fed says we don't give, there is no immunity for constitutional rights violations. You will be held accountable. You broke your oath. And if you
But
were
they,
a bureaucrat, such as, in other words, you were an appointed or not appointed, or we'll say appointed, or you're an actor, that's bureaucracy. That's what that
Yep.
is. That means we didn't elect you.
I
We didn't elect
mean,
you.
these
And
family courts, they don't have the same regulations as a regular, like civil court. You know,
there's, once again,
sure.
it's not so much that they're not even
But
operating constitutionally at all, because here's
no,
the thing. We
no,
have
you're not.
evidence that shows constitutional rights violations happened in over 90% of the cases that they have.
Right.
We can
And
prove.
all 50 states, right.
Even the judge saw the violation and did not do a constitutional audit,
No.
such as where's your warrant? Where's your court
Right.
order? Where's
Right.
the emergency? And I can't
If
take
it's a constitutional violation, let's just stop it right
the
there. And
Constitution says when it comes down to he said, she said bullshit, and they say cameras, you always
Yep.
rule on the side of the people, never
Yep.
the people that working for
Right.
the government. That's the
Right.
way the law works. It always goes on our favor. The burden of proof is on
Yep.
them.
On the-
It's on the
Yep.
state at
But
100%.
I've always been told that, even when I was wondering what the hell that because they don't ever have to show nothing. It's like kangaroo court. They don't.
Well, they're supposed
You
to, and you have
can,
to hold them accountable to it in
well,
court,
and
and
this
that's what
is
they
Well,
don't
I
like.
was never notified of court. That's the thing. I
but
was
see,
never
guys,
notified of that.
the difference between family court,
Oh,
state
okay.
court,
So,
and everything else is it statutes and codes, and it has legal ease in it. In other words, that terminology. Federal court is not that. It's a common law
That's
court.
right.
Why?
right.
Because the Constitution is written in
And,
common law.
yeah.
Common law. So it's a
And then
different.
they're biased on top of that. And a bias can go in all directions. That's like the nature of the beast right there. Bias.
You got to understand that federal judge, if a state says, well, you can't this and that, the federal judge is just going to do this.
Right.
I don't give
These
a
states have been keeping the federal government, like mass. They've been keeping it up on the state, like down here on the
Hey,
state
this
level.
guy's
County, cities, all of them are involved.
freedom of speech. This is a news station.
Oh yeah.
This is freedom of speech. So anybody banning this show or any other show that I'm on, understand this: you are interfering with spreading the news, and that is a
Yep.
crime.
Amen.
So if we find out, and yes, we have people watching now,
Yep.
you start blocking and stopping our shows and doing stuff or sending warnings, we've got people that will file charges against you for interference of a First Amendment right.
Right.
This is
Bring
a
it.
station. You have no right to block it. If you personally don't like it, shut it off. Turn the channel. Welcome to America.
Right.
Welcome to the Constitution.
All right. Welcome to America.
Yeah. And that's we're going back to the right way it's supposed to be. Around this free.
You
We're
know,
gonna live free.
I'm going to say, though, Gunner, I'm kind of upset with Trump. I feel like he's pushed this aside and he should have made this one of his #1 priorities.
Well, once again, you
There
got to
was-
have the evidence. Where's the evidence? People have said they
Think
have
about-
it. The problem
But we
is
all have it.
there are emotions in it until now.
Well-
Now you have the
Right.
hard evidence to prove it, and you're coming to the courts, which is the part. That's why we have 3 branches of government in this country. It's not all about Trump. And when it's done right and constitutionally, and you go to a courtroom, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I
But
don't
now
think
tell me,
they
why
would
can the
put-
FBI come to my house and tell me that I threatened a government official and they went on an anonymous tip, a Kane County government official, yet I'm telling you that somebody didn't threaten me and my constitutional rights and, you know, do
Right.
something like that, you know, and why can't I go to them and expose the crime that was caused? So when they came to me, I flipped it around. And that's what got
Yeah.
now Casa's gone. You know, and
Yep.
yes, they are doing the investigation on the opposite end. However, it took them coming out to investigate me first.
Well, and see, that's
where-
not that's where the slavery comes in. That, and if you don't know your rights, they would have walked right over somebody. Oh,
yeah.
you were threatening this.
That's
No,
what
I
they're
didn't.
doing to a lot of
I
people.
told them what the Constitution says.
They've got to
And if
walk
you
on.
articulate that, if that judge doesn't like it, then you need to go investigate that judge or whoever reported this government official, because what I reported or what I'm
They're
accusing
welcome
them of
for that.
is constitutional. Would you like the case laws?
Well, there wasn't
That's how
anything.
Would you like the case laws to show that what they were doing was unconstitutional, or this or that, or why they were on the radar?
Hey, Jamie.
The only
Happy
thing
Mother's
worse
Day, everyone.
is it's unconstitutional. So guess what? You're a public official. You have no privacy.
No.
You took the oath.
Right.
Now you're being held to it and saying we're calling bullshit.
And I will say the FBI agents were very reluctant. I said, I just want to let you know, I will be audio and video recording this entire conversation. I met him at a Starbucks. And they were not happy when I asked to see their badge and I wanted their badge number. And they were reluctant to do it. And I said, I will not go any further with this conversation until you give me your badge number and I can just get it right there. I see it.
Yep.
Let me see it. I will
Okay.
copy it
Yep.
and write it down myself. So
Yeah,
I did.
memory.
And the Kane County Sheriff was there to escort them. They couldn't tell me who I,
Yeah.
threatened. They couldn't tell me anything. It
Right.
was an anonymous tip. And it was from Family Forward Facebook page. I'm like, I know you have access to it. So go look at the
Yeah.
page. Did I really do it? You guys are here for
Yeah.
no reason. Why is your stack of papers this thick? What are you really investigating?
Right.
Well, and once
Yeah.
again, this
Scare
is how they
tactic.
Cover their ass. Yeah.
to intimidate. And this is where a lot of officers and everything else investigate, but respect our constitutional rights. You're supposed to investigate every other circumstance before you come to me and say you want to interview me. You need to do, well, we need to talk or we need this and that. No, you're on my private property. You just commit by you just asking to ask me questions on private property. Do you even realize that's a Fourth Amendment violation? You just
Right. Yeah. Well, they found my phone number somehow, and I don't know how, but they didn't. So I didn't answer the door, and I have no trespassing signs all over my house, and it says you are being recorded, you are violating. You know, I warn them
Yeah.
when they walk up to my house, and they're I see them on camera walking up, like, what the hell? Like, oh no, yeah, but then they got my
this
phone number.
shows a lack of training
That's
and proper constitutional education of law
You
enforcement.
know, they,
Because
all of us, they are.
and they push it past, like I saw one the other day of saying, listen, if I need to go in the house, is that they were advertising this thing of this lawyer on the phone on call thing that they have now, supposedly for traffic stops and police report, for them entering the house. And so now you have an attorney. It's some kind of app or something. And the cop was like, hey, I'm going to go in the house. I need to do a safety check, make sure nobody's in there pointing a gun at me or anything else. And yeah, when you get a warrant, but no, I do not give permission. And regardless of how you feel and your safety, I'm sorry, the Constitution says I don't give a shit about your fucking feelings. And that includes police officers. And you better understand that's part of your oath, and what you signed up for is to take that risk.
Yeah.
If that's what you're doing. But trying to coerce your way into a home, and here's the thing, We also have evidence that law enforcement has been getting training to coerce their way into homes,
Here is an
which means
example.
They set up
Here's
these
an
people.
example what they did to me. So I had my Ring cameras, okay? Before they took my kids when they were harassing me, they kept coming to my house. And my son at the time was 3, I believe, or maybe no, almost 3. And but he went up to like the window, the side of the door on the window, and like so they could see him. And of course the cops know who I am. And so the cop was like, "Oh, hi, Dominic." And I'm like, "Listen, get off my property. I'm not coming to the door." They then said to me, "Well, for all we know, you could not even be home and Dominic could be home alone." I said, "Okay, then back up. Back the fuck up." Or sorry, didn't mean to swear. Back
once
up off my
again,
property. I said, I will open the door, but the screen door will remain locked. And I will talk to you through the screen. I will show you my children because now they're going to pull. My kids could be there alone and it may not be a safe thing, blah, blah, blah. And then they're going to have a right, whatever. So then I'll show you my kids and I'm done. I'm shutting the door. That's what I did. They didn't like
but
it.
see, even under constitutional, if they actually follow federal law, there's already a federal case law established that a need for a CPS investigation is not enough to even get a warrant.
Right.
You have to have probable cause, firsthand
Yep.
knowledge of what's going
Yep.
on and signed properly. And this
Them
is the
have
other thing
firsthand
with that
knowledge.
process is they can't meet that threshold, which is why the state turned around and said, we'll just let you and allow you to go into all the homes across the United States and do whatever the fuck you want. And when you did that, that was an act of treason against that was an act of war. Let me explain this. This was an act of war. And when the judges and magistrates did not do their job under their oath, they committed an act of war. If Donald J. Trump wants to take and have all the administrative law judges he talked about in those things, we can give you all 50 states. How many prisons do you have? Enough. We will fill them. And there's the thing. You better make a call. What was it, Venezuela or something that we just made a deal with and talking to their prisons? So you better start building another one down there because we're going to house all our people. And guess who else is down there that you corrupt motherfuckers are going to deal with? MS-13 and some real motherfuckers. Third world fucking country. Because here's the thing. If you're convicted of treason, you don't serve your time on American soil.
No, that's why he wants to open up the island. What's it called? Where all the the outfit guys and the mob guys, where they were at
Alcatraz.
Alcatraz. He wants to open that back up, right? And
yeah, they're going to rehab it because they know this is coming because this is being uncovered. This is being uncovered.
Caroline Leavitt
administration, Obama administration, all.
Did you see what just happened to the speaker?
Yeah.
Did you see what they just did to her in court? Like what the judge just did to her, and she schooled them, like that judge and said, like, oh no, like this is not the way it works. You cannot do that. Like, no, like, and she's quick-witted and she knows her stuff. And like he wasn't expecting that from her, but she shut him down. Good for her. And so his team is behind him and his team is for the Constitution. So even if we don't see it out of him so much right now, well, he's dealing with a lot. He's the president. We aren't going to see that. He has people working for him in different departments that are going to see this through. So I do have faith in that.
Absolutely. And we are more than happy to be part of that and do this in return to the Constitution, because understand not just our kids getting back, but also the constitutional rights of not only parents and those children. So this never happens again. And when it's all exposed, to make sure that we take and strip away all those chains away from us. I mean, all of them, and go right back to the Constitution. 100%. And at the same time, we make sure that there are watch groups, several, even private, for citizens to do and volunteer their time as part of their civic duty. I mean, you don't have to go into the military to serve. You can serve right here in this country looking over things.
Wait, Gunnar, you see that? What somebody just said? They took an anonymous report from someone who had never been in her house.
And that was whoever signed that, and you go through all that stuff. And if it was an anonymous report to get that warrant is null and void. It does not meet the standard for warrants, and you can challenge that. 100%. Show me firsthand experience to challenge it. Matter of fact, what if you had known that in the beginning, you should have challenged it right away with the judge, with the one that issued it. I'm challenging this warrant because Who has firsthand experience? They've been in my house.
Exactly.
That means I want a name on there. And if it's anonymous, that's not enough. Federal case law supports this 100%. There
Yeah,
are rules and regulations to this. And if there's the problem, they should all know better. But the problem is
they
they're
do.
skirting around this and it's bullshit.
They know better, but they don't care. They've been over policing and overpowering their power for so long that they think they can get away with it, and they're going to try. And if people continue to
Yeah.
let them try, they're going to run it harder and harder. We are stopping it now, finally.
They're,
We are coming together, finally.
listen, guys, they were enough about this. This is not just one level with CPS. This
No.
goes all the way back to the JFK, the Kennedy administration, where they killed that man over what is being revealed now. They literally did. And it was done by the vice president. It was a hit taken out by the vice president of the United States and the very next president after JFK, Lyndon Johnson. 100%. If the evidence was released, this is true. That means the deep state, at least confirmed in our lifetime, that proves the deep state, the corporation, whatever you want to call it, the underground mob, the underground mob, if you want to call it. People have different things, or the political mob, those that went into politics and everything else. Because yes, a lot of those that were known to do that back in the day, when it ran a lot of stuff in New York and this and that, that's just what happened.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so, I mean,
The
it's true, and it
politicians were
happened in
known to
Chicago
use,
too.
right. The
The
politicians were known, and that was under Kennedy. And that was when Kennedy was president, and they made a deal with one of the outfit guys. I will not say who, and wanted him to go after Fidel Castro, and they had a deal, and then they were supposed to leave the outfit alone, and then Bobby Kennedy
Daley's,
came into office, and they went against it right away and took down the
yeah.
Chicago outfit. So yeah, they
Listen,
don't play
here in
by the
Tennessee, there's a town here in Tennessee. If you're from Tennessee and you learn this history a little bit of all your different states, Tennessee actually had a city that this has happened before in this state, to where the people actually brought up in guns and everything else and overtook their appointed elected officials
no, a
because of
court
mass
order,
treason.
Dr. Death. No, a court order is not the same as a court warrant. I don't. A
No,
warrant
they're two
is,
different things. Yeah.
yes, that's different.
Oh,
And
yeah,
then
a
they didn't
warrant and
have a
anything else.
warrant.
Yeah.
Montana doesn't have to have one. What
That's
do you mean
what you're
Montana
talking.
doesn't have to have a warrant?
They all
To
have to
enter
have
your
a warrant.
house? Yes, you do. That doesn't, I don't care who,
Hold
if it's
on,
just
hold on.
Montana.
Let me,
Montana has to.
darling. Okay, no, let me point this out. China Rose 58. You are 100% correct. They have probably told you or printed that or anything else. Congratulations, you have just found out
Cross.
what we are revealing is, yes, your state has given away your constitutional rights and told CPS they do not have to have a to protect children. Constitution negotiable.
You keep cutting out, Gunner. Gunner, I think you froze.
For anybody.
Wait, but my question is, does Montana's constitution say? Yeah, I think you froze. Does Montana's constitution? Because every state has their own constitution.
Yeah.
Now, what does Montana's state constitution state? If it doesn't say it in Montana's state constitution,
It's in their policies and procedures is the issue.
well, that doesn't mean anything
Um,
anymore.
Yeah, well, I know that. Once again, that's been the whole thing, but that's what they've been operating under. We are specialists. This doesn't apply to us, and that's just the way it is. That's what we
But they get
expose.
Title 4A funding, so it does make them, if they're not specialists, that does make them where they do not have immunity. And so, no, I mean, I just had to get case on this because of what they're trying to do and pass the immunity stuff. And there was a case actually which started, the orphanages started in Chicago. It started by a man named Levitt. I think I sent it to you. And he was from New York. And then, so if you go back into your state and see how the system started in your state, you'll find some interesting stuff out. And I always say, history repeats itself, and follow the money, and you'll discover some things that you never thought you'd find.
Sorry
And
to reload.
yeah, I don't know what's going on. What happened to Danielle? They never explain your rights when they come to a door. Yeah, no, they don't. And they're supposed to be actually Miranda rights read it to you that are CPS Miranda rights, which no one does.
To because it's locked up.
Okay,
Oh,
you're
there you
on.
are.
I hear you. Okay.
Sorry.
They
Yeah,
are.
we've got a lot of we're having every time we have a good show. It seems like they want to break us up. Somebody's
They
dropping
do,
off.
right.
Somebody's gonna
Well,
miss.
especially with you and I
They're
both on the
fucking
show
with
right now,
us.
they're going to try to kill this. You know it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Gotta love those lists that they like. The problem is hey, put me on that right one. Hey, make sure you get me on all of them the best you can.
Right. They do.
Yeah.
Wait, okay,
But
okay. If they are different, then how can they use a court order to remove your kid from you or custody? I'm confused. Then
a
don't.
warrant,
Oh, look at
listen,
everybody else
listen,
is
let me
freezing.
let me let me explain something with a warrant. A warrant means there is a search warrant and there's an arrest warrant. There are two different things. Those are a warrant.
Yes.
Okay. To remove your kids, you have to, in other words, there's an arrest warrant for you, and CPS is coming in because you're being arrested because of a felony or a crime.
Mhm. Yep, I agree, Amy.
Uh, yeah, it's that's what the difference between a court order. You have to have a court order to remove children. You have to have a warrant to get entry. Is the point of the
Mhm.
point of that, or a court order, or imminent danger. In other words,
Or
you're looking through the window and somebody's got a knife or something above, or getting ready to kill somebody. Well, then that's completely different. But a
the
CPS
police.
officer, but listen, a
Yes.
CPS officer is not supposed to, by national standards, to take and involve themselves in imminent danger. And then they are to call 911 and call the police to
Yeah,
reset
they're
some
not. They're
security.
not. I
This
don't
is
know if it's
crazy.
me, you, or if it's just that it's because we're both on.
It
Because
might
I
be.
have
I
full
don't know.
bars. Because they do this to me all the time. Jump off, Gunner, so you could go on, and we'll see if that helps. Because it might be me that they're just trying not to have us both on together.
Mine just keeps dropping internet. Hey guys, sorry about that. We're having a lot of technical difficulties. Sorry about that. They've been shutting down. They've been shutting down internets all over the place with all this stuff. Um, I do apologize. Like I said, it's been a messed up show. Like I said, they are trying to shut us down any way they can. Um, but we're here for you guys. But we're getting close to. We're going to kind of wrap up. This was like a little bit of a special show. Um, Check us out. Like I said, just like and share this channel as well as Gunning for CPS, and it's on here at 9:30 here in about a half hour. It's a Mother's Day special. Miss Sharon will be there with us. She's going to pretty much run the show. I know you guys are busy doing a lot of things, or you're just really going through it. But really, you guys that are your kids are gone, and moms, and you know that are just really suffering. Anybody, moms, dads, it doesn't matter. You want to catch this edition because it's just going to be the way that it's going to go. But check out our show later on tonight here at 9:30 for Gunning for CPS, and hopefully we'll get all these bugs worked out. Have a great night, guys. In about a half hour. Sorry, this is a little ragtag. Technical difficulties. It is what it is. But we're going to press on. Keep the faith, and don't forget our special tonight, Mother's Day special with Miss Sharon tonight at 9:30 at the CPS Breaking News Network.